In our second series, we're going to go for basic strikes. Our first series, we went over the foot position. And basically, to sum it all up, you want your right-handed foot position, your left leg in front, leading just like this. Now we're going off that into strikes. Against the bag, we'll be using punching first. The foot position is very similar to boxing style, as far as you have a lead leg, a base leg. But the difference here that's a very big and important is that you're keeping the weight back here. I can't emphasize that enough. You're keeping the weight on the back leg. Now the punching is going to be the same. You got 4 basic punch. Jab, your left hand. It's coming straight out. You want the power to come from the hip and from the shoulder. Jab. Noticing that I keep my right hand tucked in with the elbow in against the body. The chin stays in the middle. I'm looking straight down like it's a rifle. I'm looking straight down with my eye. The only thing that's popping out is my forehead and my eye. I'd rather take a shot there than straight on the chin. Now, that's the jab. Number 1 punch. Number 2 punch, cross. You're going to put your hip into this punch, putting pressure on the ball of your right toe and turning the knee into the punch. Cross. Keep your head down, though. Don't lean your head in. Don't lean your head side to side. Keep it right in the middle. Cross. Cross. Cross the hips. Punches are coming from the hips. That's the number 2 punch. Cross. Notice my left hand. Elbow stays in. Hands against here. Cross. From this jab, cross. Not only am I being offensive, I'm also blocking myself as I throw a punch. Because my shoulders are covering up my chin. So from here, you got jab, number 1 punch. Jab, cross, cross. Turning the hip into the punch. Jab, cross. When I punch, I try to exhale, breathing out through my nose, keeping my mouth closed, clamped down on my mouthpiece so that my jaw's not open. Taking a shot with your jaw open could break your jaw. So, breathing through my nose, relax with the hands up against your eyebrows. 1 and 2 punch, jab, cross. I'm punching straight out, and as I punch, I twist my wrist. I pull back. I punch and twist my wrist. Now, you're not trying to push the punches. You're trying to snap them. They're trying to go fast. You're trying to keep stability. You're self-centered over your feet. Chin's in the middle where your belly button is. You're looking forward. Jab, cross on the bag. Elbows in, you start. Feet are flat. Jab, cross. Notice I exhale. Jab, cross. Start slow. Remember, the basic foot position is the same. Feet are open, you step and slide. Which direction you're going to, you step that foot first. If you're moving to the right, step to the right, slide to the left. If you're moving to the left, step to the left, slide to the right. Never put your feet together. That's your 1 and 2 punch, jab, cross. Where you send those can be anywhere from head to body. You can jab high and punch low. When punching low, I'd recommend driving your hip and knee into the punch. Always remember that when you punch, don't let your elbows flare up. You're leaving your body susceptible for body shots. Either be kick or punch. Unnecessary punishment. Keep your elbows in. That incorporates using different muscles. So now you're using your back muscles, your shoulder, your tricep. Jab, cross. Jabs your left, crosses your right. On the bag, I know exactly how far I am away from my opponent or the bag when extending my left hand, my lead hand out. Once I know I can touch the bag or my opponent, I know I can hit him with anything I have. If it be my cross, my leg kick, my knee, all from extending my left hand fully out. Now, depending on how long your arms are or how short your arms are, it's going to depend on your range. So using your range, I'm hunting you down with my left. Your jab does not want to be a solid, hard punch. If that's your hardest punch, you won't be able to let off your right hand or your cross. So make sure that you're not throwing too much weight into it. Keep yourself flat on the feet. Jab. You can jab low to the midsection or high to the face, keeping the other hand, the opposite hand, tucked in as defense. Or if you can throw the punch, so can your opponent. Working on the bag, you don't have to worry about your opponent or the bag striking back. At least not yet anyways. So, ranging yourself with your left hand, your jab. You've worked body, head, jab, one punch, cross, the number 2 punch. I'm breaking down the punches into 1, 2, 3, and 4. Punch 1, jab. You're finding your range. Like a curb feeler on a car, once you know exactly where you're at, you know what you can do with it. You've got a full array of weapons you can use now. Starting jab, you can go into cross. That should be your solid knockout punch. Key here not to emphasize throwing your head into it, but sitting down and putting the hips into it. It's more of a hip motion. And boom, your arm. Be sure not to push the punch, but to let it snap. The snap comes when you twist the wrist and drive the hip. Keeping the elbows in. You're throwing the punches exactly the same way you'd throw the punches if you were boxing. The foot position is very similar, although you're keeping the weight on the back foot more. Now, number 2 punch could be your hook punch. Throwing off your lead hand, left hook, or right hook, depending on what you want to start with. The easiest way to start the punching is to start from left to right, so you wind yourself up like a machine. If I go left, jab, I'm ready to come back off my right side because my left hip is now rotated in. Now I can go right cross, left hook, because I'm shifting. I'm building momentum in my hips so that I can let the punches fluidly flow. Now I've gone over 1, 2, and 3 punch. 3 punch being the hook. The hook. Remember, the power is coming from your hips. It's the generating of the motion of your hips. Like doing a hula hoop. You want to roll the hips without moving your feet or rolling over your toes. So you want to go back to the first series where we keep our feet flat, planted, and ready to work to keep you stable. Shifting of the hip. You want to shift your hip. If you're going to throw your left hook, drop your right hip to the center. Center being where your belly button was. In your first start, you're starting here. Drop your hip into the middle. All I did was turn my right knee in to the center, turn my hip in. Left hook, left hook. I'm hooking by keeping my arm just like this. Notice the wrist position. I'm going to keep my left foot flat and facing forward, but I'm going to turn my knee in. Hook, hook, hook. So I wound up for that left hook by turning first. My back stays straight. I didn't dip to a side. I didn't move my head. I kept my head right in the center. All I did was start with my back foot. I turned it in. Slight pressure, turning the knee in. And the hip goes with. I'm keeping this arm like it's stuck on the telephone to my head. So I go this way. I'm just turning. Just rolling. Rolling. This could also be a defensive move, a slip, if punches were coming at you. As long as you keep your elbows in, you're fine in this position. So I'm winding up to throw the left hook, the 3 punch. Here, boom. Weight transfer in your feet is going from back leg to front leg. The weight should be on your back leg. As you shift and turn the knee to the center, you're going to shift the weight to the front foot as you let the punch go and put the back foot flat. Throwing off the hook punch. Left hook. As I throw the left hook, I want to turn my left knee into the middle. On the bag, it should look just like this. I'm throwing left hook, my lead hook. I'm going to turn into it, so I kind of wind up, build momentum. Hook. Notice my back foot turns in first, turning the knee in. Then, as I let the punch go, I put the back foot flat and turn the lead knee in. Hook. Notice as I throw the hook, my left shoulder is still protecting my chin in the center. My head didn't move anywhere. My eyes are still looking forward. Left hook. The key to this is putting the pressure on the balls of the feet, but not actually pivoting. Pivot. The key essential here for shifting your hips. When you start to throw punches, you don't want to overemphasize putting your foot into it too much. If you do that, then what you're going down to do is you have to re-counter your foot. So keep your feet flat. You're trying to drive more of your knee into the punch and the hip. Don't worry about pivoting your foot. Wait for that till you start to use kicks. Now, we're going to go over 4 punches. We've only done 3. That was the left hook. You can go to the body with the left hook. You can go to the head with the left hook. Now, right hook. Same thing. You can go to the body. You can go to the head. You want to shift using the momentum of the hips this way. Keeping the hands in. Notice that when I throw the punches, I'm always protecting my face though. If it's a left jab, the left shoulder, the right hand. If it's a right cross, the right shoulder is protecting the chin. The left hand is against the side of my head. If it's a left hook, the left shoulder's still in front of my face. The left to the body, it's still in front of my face. Same thing. Same thing. You're just getting those hips to move. Always protect your face though. Peer over the top with your eyes, but don't have your chin sticking out. So on the bag, if you want to work right hook, apply pressure onto the ball of your right toe and drive the hook in, coming from your hip. Key here, when you punch, don't go up. Some people will throw the punch and they go up. If you go up, you're throwing the weight you had to go through your base, to go through your opponent. You're putting it up in the air. Keep your feet flat down. And turn, turn. You're going to turn your right knee in. Right hook. So we'll go right hook on the bag. Right hook. Right hook. Right hook. I drop the knee in. I drive the hip in. I drop the knee into the center. I drive the hip in. Right hook. Right hook. So you've gone 1, 2, 3, 4 would be uppercut. You can throw uppercut off either hand also. Unlike the jab must be your lead hand, the hand that's in front. So if you're right-handed, it must be your left hand. The cross must be your right hand if you're right-handed. The hook can come off your left or your right. The uppercut can come off your left or your right. The punching is the same as boxing. 1, 2, 3, and 4 punch. How you differentiate the punch and put them into combinations is up to you and your trainer. Now how we're going to work this is uppercut. Since we're using a banana bag, this is mainly used for Muay Thai training, there's really nothing sticking out for uppercuts. You can't get underneath it. Depending on what you use for uppercuts, you may have an uppercut bag, or you may have a trainer opening focus mitts, or you could just shadow box in the air. Uppercuts are exactly the same punches using the same motion. It's still the twisting of your hips. Your feet are still flat, except for now you're trying to get up. You're trying to get underneath the chin with the uppercut. I'll start left uppercut first. You can differentiate the hand positioning. I'm starting with my hand open, just like this. I'm going to drop my right knee in the hip to the middle, left uppercut. I'm trying to get the guy underneath the chin. So, basic foot positioning, flat, left uppercut. I put pressure on the ball of my left toe as I let the punch go to push me up. So I get underneath the guy and stand him head up. On the bag, since there's nothing really sticking out, you would be very careful when you're hitting the bag like this. Just to go slow. So, you're going to load yourself into the punch. put the pressure on the ball of your back foot, turn the knee in, turn the hip in. Left uppercut. Remember, if you hit the bag like this, you could potentially hurt yourself. So you don't want to be hitting these very hard at all. And make sure your hands are wrapped. So we're going left uppercut, the number 4 punch. Left uppercut. Left uppercut. We can go right uppercut. The right uppercut, you're going to need a little bit more space because your left hand is closer to the guy's chin than your right hand is. So you're going to need to drive extra hip into there. Not to overextend yourself and get your chin sticking out in the wind. Right. Right. You may need to take a step to hit your opponent in the chin with your right uppercut. If so, step with your lead leg forward and push the power of your right leg back. Right uppercut. On the bag, since nothing is extending out, it's hard to get underneath the bag, so you want to stick. Right uppercut. I can only emphasize that you keep your left hand or the opposite hand tight against your head, so you're not sticking your face out to be punched or for the bag to swing back and hit you. Keeping the elbows in. You're going right uppercut. Put pressure on the ball of your toe and put your knee into the punch and hip. Right uppercut. That's number 4 punch. Again, uppercuts can come off left or right. That power is coming from the rotation of your hips and driving the knee in. Make sure that you don't go up when you throw the punches. If you're going up, you're losing power. Stay low. Keep your base solid, flat-footed. Right uppercut. You can go in a combination now. Applied to the bag, I would go jab, cross, hook. Hook with your lead hand. Jab, cross, hook. I stayed low on my feet so I could turn my hips and keep the base solid. Jab. My right hand's in. Elbows in. Cross. I pull back my left. I stick out my right. The right hip is now into the punch. I'm staying low though. I'm not popping myself up. Off the right cross, I'm going to shift weight transfer from the back of my right, the ball of my toe, to the left. So from here, I'm going to put my right foot flat off the punch and turn my left knee into the punch. Turning my left knee and pivoting my foot slightly, I can throw the left hook. As I throw the left hook, turn the left knee in. Not to overdo the left pivot. That way you've got balance. If you throw the hook and both feet are up, you're not going to be able to plant yourself. Always remember to keep the stability in the back leg, most of your weight centered on the back foot. So, I could go jab, cross, hook, or I could go jab, cross, uppercut. Feet are staying flat. I'm using the momentum of my hips to go into the bag. 1, 2, 3. Notice that when I let the punches go, I focus on keeping my chin protected the most. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's up to you and your trainer on how you mix up the combinations. The easiest way I can say is, if you're going from left, go back to right. That's the basic striking for punching. You're wanting to wind yourself up from left to right side. Like a machine. Keep your head in the middle. Don't let it roll around from side to side. Keep a solid base with your feet open. Never crossing your legs when you move. Never putting your feet together. Have a lead leg and a base leg with the majority of the weight on the back leg towards the ball. Stay flat, stay relaxed. Keep your head covered. Make sure that your gloves are on the outside. Applied to the bag in full speed. You're going jab, cross, left hook to the body. And you relax. That's basic punching, Muay Thai. On our second series, we're working on basic strikes. When we've gone over the punching, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Jab, the cross, the hook punches, and the uppercuts. Now we're going to work on close. Working in off of the punch into the elbow. We can work right elbow. Now working the elbow, I try to keep my left hand in tight. If you're close enough to throw the elbow, so is your opponent or your training partner. So what I'm trying to do is here, I'm trying to work the elbow, the hard bone part, into the upper part. Working on the bag, drop it down. You're trying to keep your shoulders in tight. I keep my palm open as I throw it over the top, keeping my left hand pressed against the side of my head, like I'm on the phone. Right elbow. Be careful that you keep your head centered in the middle, that you don't roll to one side. Otherwise you'll throw your body weight off. Right elbow. I'm throwing it from the shoulder. Notice I have to use my hip to move. Right elbow. Applied to the bag and working over the top. Right elbow. Keep your head down in the center. Keep your hands still in. You've got the basic foot position now. You can work with jab, right elbow. Drive the elbow into the top of the bag. Off the jab, elbow. Here, you want to make sure you keep your head nice and protected with your shoulders. Making sure that you get the bone into the bag. Stick it into the bag so it's a solid piece. Don't hit your forearm, otherwise it could bruise. You can use a hooking elbow. Like the hook punch, you're wringing it across. So you're peering over the top of your arm. Again, my left hand is collapsed, gets the side of my head. Boom, just like this. I roll my hip into it. That's the right hook elbow. You can come over the top. Depending on the hand position of your opponent. Hook over the top. Focus on keeping your elbows in and your head protected. Again, this is a close. For when you're very close to the bag. You can use the left, your lead. Same as the hook punch. Roll it straight over. I'm putting pressure on the ball of my foot and turning my hip. Left hook elbow. I fold up the arm like it's one piece and roll it over with my shoulder. Protecting my head with my right hand. On the bag, left hook elbow. Into a combination, you can go left hook elbow. Right over the top. Rainbow elbow. Trying to go from left to right. To keep it basic, you wind up. 1, 2. Keeping your head protected. Hands in against the eyebrows. If you're close enough to throw the elbow, so is your opponent. On the elbows, using your lead, your left, you can come up the middle. Uppercut elbow, left. You're focusing on driving your elbow into your opponent's upper region, preferably his face. On the bag, you just got to measure where your head is. Considering on how tall you are, you're going to measure the head. Uppercut elbow with the left. Drive your left elbow as your arm is closed up, forward to the target. Again, I'm using the power of my hip to motion to go in. Combination, left uppercut elbow, right rainbow elbow. I'm trying to keep my head and my shoulders protected with this right here. Relaxed. Not flexing up your arms, but relaxed with your hands up. Elbows in. Elbows. Right rainbow. Right hook. Left uppercut. Left hook. Make sure when you throw in the elbows, you keep your arms in tight. I try to relax the palm of my hand. It's coming from the motion of my hip still. There's variations on the elbow. considering on the openings you have on your opponent, you can spin with the elbow. You can come up the middle with the elbow. You can come over the top with the elbow. You can jump with the elbow. You can move straight in the elbow. You can use angles on the elbow. Close quarter fighting with the elbow, Muay Thai style. Now, the basic moves for the elbow. We've worked off the hook elbows, the uppercut elbows, the rainbow. Now we're going to work on spin. Using your momentum and the momentum of oncoming opponent, you can spin. You're going to take a step, a slight step with a pivot in it. Step. The key here is you want to make sure you rotate your head over so you're looking over your opposite shoulder. So if you're leading with your left leg in front, step and point your left heel. Boom. You're going to step with your left leg to the right and point your heel. Pivot your head over. That's key here. You have to be able to see your target over your shoulder. From here, you've wound up to spin. You're still using the momentum of your hips, but now you're using the momentum of your hips and the momentum of an oncoming opponent. Spinning elbow. Using your right, you can come up the middle. Again, I'm going to take that step. It's a step with a half pivot in it. Rotate my head. Uppercut up the back. Elbow. Working off the spin, you can come over the top with it. Step with the pivot. Over the top. Again, you're focusing on driving the elbow with your arm locked to the head region. From here, you can go into full combination. You can throw the punch first and then go to the elbow. You can use the spin. Making sure that you don't telegraph your movement. Try to make the step and pivot simultaneous with the head rotation. So then you see your target before you let the elbow go. Break it down into steps if it's easier. If you start off with a full spin from the get-go, you're going to get yourself dizzy. So start slow. Break it down into parts. 1 would be the step, 2 is the turn, 3 is the head. From there you can pick which elbow you want to use. Over the top. Under. Or straight over. Make sure you keep your arm in a locked position so your elbow is flexed out. You're trying to get that hard part against the soft parts of the face. Making the fight a shorter fight and close quarter fight. Elbows. Now incorporating a partner into basic strikes of Muay Thai. We're going to use the Thai pads, and with Tony holding them, we're going to incorporate punching first. Jab. Making sure that I don't lunge in on my lead leg or let the hit come from my hip. Keeping my right hand in with the elbow in like I'm on the phone. It's extending straight out. My shoulders protecting my chin. I exhaled through my nose. And I still have the basic foot position. Going from the jab, I'm going to go to cross. Jab, cross. I threw my hip into the punch by pivoting my toe, but not raising my foot up off of the floor. Jab, cross. 2 basic punches. Making sure that I keep my elbows in the whole time. I'm going to go for left hook now. I'm going to turn, pivoting my foot. Hook. I turn by winding up for the hook, putting my right hip into the middle. By placing pressure on the ball of my right toe, I turn the hip to the center. Keep my right hand up with the elbows in. I transfer the weight from the base leg to the lead foot and turn my knee in, not pivoting my foot. The punches are still, remember, coming from the hips. So I throw left hook. Again, the shoulders, boom, parallel here with the floor and protecting my chin. My head's still in. As I exhale, the punch comes off. Left hook. In sequence, jab, cross, hook. Off that combination, I can throw a numerous amount of my arsenal, depending on what I want to use. It could be elbows, knees, body kicks, leg kicks. Now we'll start in inside leg kick, using my lead leg, my left leg. I'm going to put pressure on the ball of my base leg. Almost raising up just a little bit so that I have majority of my weight on my back foot here. I'm going to use my left leg like my jab now. Inside leg kick. Notice that I kind of raised up on the toe. If I was flat and I let this kick go, I wouldn't be able to move laterally quickly. So I'm putting weight on the ball of my back foot. Inside leg kick. I don't move my upper body at all. My elbows stay in. My head's protected. Inside leg kick. I'm trying to hook the inside of my shin bone to the inside thigh of my partner or my opponent. From there I can replace my jab punch with my leg. Since my leg is longer, sometimes it's more effective. Inside leg kick. From there I can go to right cross. Put the foot down. Cross. In combination, inside leg kick, right cross. That's a basic strike there. Basic combination. Again, you're coming off the hip movement. Left to right. Now we're going to go jab, cross, hook, right leg kick. Again, focusing when you leg kick to pivot your lead leg. Going slow in sequence. Jab, cross, hook, right leg kick. I'm trying to turn my hips over my opponent through his body. So if I'm facing forward, when I start the kick, my knee's going straight in, and then I turn, making my midsection and my hip go through the opponent. Right leg kick. Right leg kick. On the leg kick, I make sure I pivot my lead foot in the half open position. Put my hips forward and turn. Making sure that my base leg I'm going to kick with is completely relaxed. Jab, cross, hook, leg kick in a combination. There, we can go, mixing up the combinations, we can go cross, inside leg kick. Again, coming off that hip rotation. 1, 2. Never changing my foot position. There's some basic strikes of Muay Thai. We're going to use an arsenal of 4 of the punches we have here. Starting with the jab. That's the lead punch. Using the jab like a curb feeler. You extend your arm straight out. Letting the punch come from your hip. Not moving your foot though. Staying stationary in the basic foot position. As in series 1. Jab. My shoulder on my left covers my chin, is extended out. The jab is a quick punch, it's not a hard one. It's straight. As I let the punch go, I make sure I turn my wrist. Starting from here with my elbows in, it goes straight out. And I'm looking down my arm like it's a barrel of a rifle. My right arm stays in. Elbow tucked in against the body. Jab. That's the number 1 punch, starting with basics. Jab. Now we're going to go cross. That's your power hand. On the cross, you want to put pressure on the ball of your back foot. Put your right hip into it. The key here and common mistake is people roll over their foot or raise their foot up. You want to keep your feet flat, based. Majority of your weight on your back leg. Cross. That's your power hand. That's your knockout punch. When you throw, make sure you turn your wrist into the punch. Keep your head down and in the center. Center being where your belly button would be. Basic foot position. Now, cross. You're going to extend it out. Put pressure on the ball of your toe and turn your right hip into it. Since I'm right-handed, this is my right cross. If you were left-handed, it'd be your left cross. On the cross, the number 2 punch, my left stays exactly where it started. Again, I'm looking down my arm like it's a barrel of a rifle. My right hip is in there. The number 2 punch, the cross. Exhale through your nose as you let the punch go. Keeping a tight clamp on your mouthpiece. Now, we'll go number 3 punch. Hooks. The number 1 punch, the jab, and the number 2 punch, the cross, those are staying. If you're right-handed, your left hand's going to be your jab, as your left leg's going to be your lead. If you're right-handed, your right hand's going to be your cross, as your right foot's going to be your base. Those won't switch. The hook punches can be a left hook, can be a right hook. Depends on which motion you throw. So we'll start with the left hook, your lead hook. To throw the hook punch, common mistake, people want to go up. If you throw your weight up, you're not going through your target anymore. Make sure you pivot your back foot, and then as you turn back, the hips roll. Your back foot goes flat, and you're letting the knee go in. Left hook. So I start with my back foot and I roll my right hip to the center. As I let the punch go, my back foot goes flat, I turn my lead knee in. Hook. On the punch, I'm making sure that my left shoulder is protecting my chin. I'm looking over the shoulder still. My right arm is tucked in. Foot position. Make sure that your hips are moving. That's where the motion's coming from. Don't let your back foot come off the floor. Stay flat and planted. Left hook. If I go right hook, same motion. You're going to start by pivoting in your lead knee and then turning it straight as you let the punch come off the right side. The key on the hooks, keep your elbows in. Don't let your elbows flare out. That way you're using your back muscles and your tricep to let the punches get the power. Make sure that you keep your weight down. So, left hook, right hook. If you throw the left hook, remember, turn the back knee in first, slightly bent, and then, boom, you put the back foot flat, turning in the lead knee. You don't want to waste your motion on pivots. Too much time, you won't be able to get anything off, and you lose your balance. Feet stay flat. You're just turning the knees in from the hip motion. Now we're going to go uppercuts. You can go off the left. You can go off the right. Uppercuts. The number 4 punch. Again, like the hooks, can come off left, can come off right. Every time you throw the punch, this motion should be incorporated. This is how you're getting the power. It's not how buff your arms are. It's how much you can get your hip motion. Your feet have to stay flat. Uppercut. If you throw off your lead hand, your left, turn your right hip into the middle. That way generating momentum, power for the lead hand. Left uppercut. If I was to throw it on my partner, I'd hit him in the chin. Right underneath, trying to get his head to come up. My right hand stays in. Left uppercut. Notice my shoulders still protecting my chin. My elbow is straight up from the floor. My wrist is straight. Left uppercut. Lead uppercut. So I use the motion of my hips. Again, putting my knee to the middle. Boom. When I let it go, I push up on my toe. If it's a left uppercut, I push up on my left toe. If it's a right uppercut, I push up on my right toe. I'm trying to go up through the pads. Again, using the same motion off the basic foot position, I twist into the punch. So if it's left, put the opposite hip in. Putting the hip in to the center, where your chin should be, where your belly button is. Left uppercut. Vice versa. Right uppercut. Lead in with the left hip. Make sure you don't pivot your foot. And come up. Right uppercut. Again, keep your elbows in, keep your head protected. On the focus mitts, if I go left uppercut, right uppercut, my feet help me push the power through the pad, but I don't raise them off the floor. So, if we go all the way through the number 1, 2, and 3, 4 punches, It's jab, cross, hook, which can come off either side, left or right, left uppercuts, or right uppercuts. My head always stays in the middle no matter what, keeping my balance and my base solid. Those are some of the 4 punches, basic Muay Thai. Now, going from the basic 4 punches, we're going to go with our partner Tony. I'm going to be holding the focus mitts this time, and Tony's going to show you from the basic foot position of a southpaw, left-hander, the same 4 punches. So we'll start. He's leading with his right leg in front. We're going to go jab, jab. We'll show his cross. Yeah, jab, cross. Notice that he keeps his elbows tucked in, his basic foot position. He's leading with one leg in front and a base leg in back. The majority of his weight should be in the back leg, and he's just kind of slanted forward. So we're going to go jab, cross again. On the hook punches, you can go either right or left. So we'll go hooks from either side. Notice he's getting the power by keeping his head in the center and shifting his weight from the hip motion. Now, if you were to pivot your feet on that motion, you throw yourself off. So keeping your feet flat like they're anchored into the floor, you're just winding the power from your hips. Again, hook punches. Now, if you're right-handed or you're left-handed, the foot position varies. If you're right-handed, your left leg's going in front. If you're left-handed, your right leg goes in front. But the base is still the same as far as where your weight's going. The majority is going to stay in the back. You don't want to over pivot when you're throwing punches or elbows. You wait later on until we go into kicks. So, we've done the jab, the cross, the hooks. Now we'll go uppercuts. Off either hand. The power's still coming from his hips. When you let the punches go off uppercuts, you're trying to drive your weight up. So you push yourself up. If it's a left uppercut, push yourself up on your left. If it's a right, you push yourself up on your right. You're trying to get the snap of the hip. Still keeping the head in the center. Uppercuts again. So if we were to go into a combination of the basic 4 punches, we could go jab, cross, hook. Notice that you want to keep the elbows in. Therefore, when you let the power go off the punches, you're using your tricep to go straight out. If your elbows flare up when you let the punches go, you lose a lot of power. You open yourself for body shots or body kicks, punches, knees, and you lose a lot of power. You also lose length on the punch. So remember, when letting the punches go, extend your arm straight out as far as you can. You want the snap. That's going to be the turn of your wrist. Key important here is that your head stays in the center, where your belly button would be. The center. Chin down, hands up. So either what punch it is, it shouldn't matter. Your head still stays in the same spot, and your shoulders are protecting your chin. We could go into, from any combination, we could go jab, cross, hook, left uppercut. We could go jab, cross, hook to the body with the lead hand. On the hook punches, you can go to either the head region or you can go to the body region. The uppercut punches, you can use the body going straight in or you can go straight for the chin. The easiest way to set up combinations and punches of the basic 4 are to get the momentum of your hips going. Right to left, almost like you're a machine. You're just winding up. As long as you keep your elbows in, now you're in a defensive move also. If your hands stay up, you're rolling. You're kind of slipping with the punches. As you slip and you get that momentum going, notice that my feet are flat on the floor. I'm using the twist of my hips and the turn of my knees to build momentum. That's some of the 4 basics with focus mitts. Noticing that Tony is left-handed, it's still the same thing. Basic foot position for the basic 4 punches. Now using the elbows and basic strikes of the elbows, we're going to use on the Thai pads. Basically what we're trying to do here is, boom, close contact. When you've got close enough to the guy where you're too close to kick him, boom. You're in tight with him to punch, boom. Now you're almost a little too close. You can throw in left lead elbow, the hook elbow. I'm throwing off my lead hand. Boom. My weight is flat. Boom. My feet are planted. Left hook elbow. What I'm trying to do is roll my left elbow out like a hook punch. It's that same motion except for my arm's tighter now. The shoulder's still protecting my head. The right hand is up against the side of my head. The palm of my left hand is turned open. I'm trying to make my arm one piece. I'm trying to strike the head region of my opponent. Lead hand, left, hook elbow. You're trying to get your elbow inside the region of your opponent's face. Cheek, head bone. I can throw the hook elbow off the right side also. I'm going to have to put my hip into the punch though. This way. My right palm stays open. My left stays tucked in against my head. My elbows stay in. My head is still in the center. Right hook elbow. Right hook elbow. I put pressure on the ball of my back foot and I put my hip into the elbow. My head is protected with my arms as I move forward with the elbows. Hook elbows. Like the hook punch, you have the same motion, the wind up of the hips. Your head stays in the same spot, in the center. Key to the elbows though, you want to make sure that you're keeping your hands in tight so that if you throw off either side, you have the other side hand covering your head. So if you throw left, make sure your right is right here like it's on the phone. If you throw right, make sure your right is covering your chin and your left is right here covering your face. Other side, hook elbows, uppercut elbows. When your opponent is advancing forward, you want to get underneath. Again, with the lead, left uppercut elbow or right uppercut elbow. You're trying to use the hard bone part of your elbow to penetrate the soft parts of the skin of the face and upper head region. Make sure that your arm is folded up into one solid piece. It doesn't feel like it's two pieces. Left uppercut elbow. Right uppercut elbow. Now with the uppercut, I'm pushing like I did with the punch, up on the toe. If I go left, push up on my left toe. Get the momentum of my hip to go up. If it's right, push up on your right toe. Get the right hip to move into it. Again, make sure you have control of both arms. If it's a right, keep the left against the side of your head. If it's a left, keep the right against the side of your head. Keep your head down so you're peering through the front of your gloves. Not in front of your face, to the sides. And you're starting with the same basic foot position we started with from the beginning. We can go over the top with the right elbow. You're going over the top. If your opponent's lead hand was extended forward, you can pry his arm down over the top. Almost similar to the hook, but you're going over the front. Left hand still comes across the top. You're bringing your elbow down over the top. Again, notice the shoulder is covering the chin. The left hand is covering the side of my face. I started here, over the top. So we've worked hooks, over the top. On the pad, so we'll start hook, left hook elbow, right hook elbow, left uppercut elbow, right uppercut elbow, over the top with the right, over the top with the left. Now, the same position with the feet on all of the moves. You're just trying to get your hips to do the work while keeping your feet flat and balance yourself in this base. Your hands stay up, your elbows stay in. There's still some ones we have left. We have a spinning one. You're using the momentum of your partner moving forward and the swing of your hips to come around. The key to this move is to make sure you keep your eyes on your partner at all times. So as he moves forward, I move my lead leg to the side of his lead leg and turn my toe into a pivot. Elbow. Spinning elbow. I'm using my backhand. So as he moves forward, I take one step with a half pivot in it. So I started with my foot in front. As I go, I step past his front foot and turn my heel. Turn my head simultaneously and let the elbow come around to meet the face. On the pads, I'll be look just like this. Key here on the spinning elbow. Make sure that your eyes come over the shoulder on the back. Make sure your arm is locked up into one solid piece. And make sure that shoulder is still protecting the chin. You don't want your head popping out. The key with the elbows is you have to remember that if you're close enough to throw an elbow and hit your opponent, he's close enough to hit you. So you want to make sure you have good defense. Even in your offense, you must keep one hand protecting your face. And you'll start to notice now that with all the upper body movements, my shoulders are doing all the work by protecting my chin as I just stay in a relaxed position right here. As I let any of the strikes go, it'd be punches, elbows. I'm making sure that I breathe, relax through my nose, and keeping my mouth clamped down on my mouthpiece. Those are 4 basic elbow strikes, Muay Thai style. Now incorporating punching to the elbowing, we're still using the basic 4 punches, the westernized boxing style punches, incorporating the elbow. Remembering that the elbow is a lot harder, so do this with a trainer or somebody. Make sure that you're using pads. Now we're going to start jab with your left. The number 1 punch, we'll use right over the top elbow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close the distance with my left and then step and slide to the target. I'm closing the gap here between us with a small step with my lead foot off of the jab. Jab. Right elbow. It's coming over the top. My left hand's covering my face. Again, if I'm close enough to hit him with the jab, I can hit him with anything else in my arsenal. But remember that after you close the distance with a jab, be sure you bring it right back. Because if I can hit him with this elbow, he can run right back. So make sure your face is protected with those shoulders. Keeping your elbows in. Jab over the top of the right elbow. I can go right cross, left hook elbow. That's the number 2 punch to the left hook elbow. Cross, hook elbow. If he's right in front of me and close enough for me to hit him with a cross, I can turn off of that motion. The twist of my hips here. Cross, elbow. If I want to use my momentum of my backspin, I can use left jab, taking that small step and turn my head. Spinning right elbow. I can go right uppercut, right elbow. I could go left hook, right elbow. Remember that when throwing the elbows, you're getting your momentum from the twist of your hips. So don't raise up on your feet, otherwise your feet will start to come off the floor. Stay planted and just turn. If there's a gap here, step and slide. If you're leading forward, step with your lead leg, slide your back. I could go jab, cross, left hook, punch, right elbow. I could go jab, right uppercut, left hook elbow. I could go left uppercut elbow, right over the top. All I'm basically doing is closing the distance with my elbows, trying to strike my opponent's face. Left uppercut elbow, right over the top elbow. I'm trying to go in between his arm position. So you're going to see the openings. After a while, you'll understand. You're trying to get the openings. Wherever his arms and he's not covered, you're trying to exploit. If he's holding his arms low, you can come over the top. If he's holding him high, you can come underneath. underneath using that uppercut elbow or the spinning right elbow from underneath. Spin, come underneath. You're driving your rear elbow off a spin underneath through his arms to the chin. So we could go jab, spinning right elbow. We could go cross, left hook over the top of the right elbow. We could go lead, hook elbow, right uppercut elbow. Just remember that you keep your balance, you keep your head in the middle, and you keep your arms in. Those are some of the basic 4 punching to elbowing, Muay Thai style. This concludes the basic punching to elbowing combinations. So when you train, make sure you train hard, and there's no such thing as a dumb question.